It was the third day of a 6-day week, and Hayamawa, the Ankili who owned this bar, was glad for it. He kept his bar running as standard galactic time on a 7-hour schedule, which didn't always match up with the day lengths of those coming into port on the space station. But sometimes they matched up a little too well, since the majority kept to SGT for their customers' convenience. That meant weekends could end up with him closing himself in the walk-in to scream once or twice. Real dust-ups were rare, though. Those who hopped from place to place on business knew it was a bad idea to get on the bad side of their favourite bar's owner, and Hayamawa knew many were fond of his. It was probably due to him forking out the money for genuine wood panelling that gave it a cozy feel and the bonus of dampening, rather than echoing sound like metal did. Also, the fact that any species in existence could find a bowl of something to snack on the house while drinking, which of course helped them to keep drinking. The evening was easy going, with 2/3 of the tables full of customers from 5 species. They chatted, gossiped and complained. Stop-offs like this being one of the best opportunities to mingle with people outside their crew. No matter how much you got along, everyone eventually needed a break from being stuck in a metal box with the same people for ages. It was a topic of conversation that a Yoluti had drifted to at this point. My captain was smart when he hired the human on our ship. Did the Centos test. The guy ended up staying for 4 years. Mine just had ours do the porter and it was fine, a Niltonian said. Yeah, it can be fine. But how long is the gig you're on? 3 weeks, she replied. Exactly, that's manageable. You can get lucky, but it's better to pay for 100 questions to be analysed than 10. That's just math. Getting a human match that will stay on crew for cycle after cycle can happen when you use the porter, but the fact is it's risky and cheap. And no one likes a captain who you can describe with those words. Am I wrong? He asked, leaning forward. The human he directed the question to shook his head as he downed a gulp of the beer in his hand. Nah, I do long term, and I won't even apply to jobs that offer the porter. You think I'd want to be stuck with a crew of introverts for that long? I'll lose my mind. The Yoluti sat up a little straighter at the validation. Exactly. And the happier your crew, the less likely they are to stab each other. Good thing, right? The rest of the bar chuckled their agreements in a variety of sounds. Food's important too, spoke up the Minakan, sitting a few stools down. Saves money and effort if the human's vegetarian, on a crew that's mostly Minakan. Meat's important, but the healthiest of us will eat 80 to 90% plants. I mean, that excludes me, but I'm here, so that's not surprising. That got a few laughs. That's definitely true, the Niltonian said. The easiest way to keep your crew happy is to keep them fed with good food. There were grunts of agreement. Honestly, it could be too cold, too hot, the galnet could be down, and the sewage could be backed up, leaving us shitting in buckets. But if I've got a full belly of my favourite foods, I'm good. Here is to that, the human said, raising his glass. A few others did the same. One of my first gigs, we had off-the-shelf MREs. The captain saved money by buying military. If it had been more than a month, people would have spit in his face and quit. I swear, the best flavour in chunk of grey goo was salt. I would have killed for some chili. Oh, come off it with the shit about humans and spicy food, the Minakan said, leaning her arms on the bar to get a better look at him. You like flavour, we get it. I just said I like chili, he exclaimed. You know what I found out? There's this big famous book series called Dune. You know what the super scary additive drug in it is called? Spice. And you wrote it before your first contact. The human's head fell, which left the other customers chuckling at the realization it was true. That's hilarious, the Luluti told her. I'm going to look that up. You should, the human said indignantly. Those books are fantastic. The Monacan chittered. What, you're saying that humans aren't the ones that love spicy food the most? No. Haimawa suddenly spoke up. His lizard-like mouth stretched into an amused smile as his customers glanced at him. Humans don't love spicy stuff. I mean, they do, but humans are the only ones who enjoy torturing themselves with spicy stuff, and still insist it's fantastic. While their entire face is telling a completely different story. Like they're in a movie, some tough prisoner of war being tortured and just insulting the enemy's mother, continuing to pretend they're not in pain. The Monacan chittered even louder. You can have it both ways, the human exclaimed. And no species out there is going to sit next to me and match me pepper for pepper in a competition. You've got to agree to that. Oh, no, I do not have to agree to that, the Monacan told him. I've been out to eat with plenty of humans and eaten a bunch of their spicy foods. All the peppers they ask for. I'll always have one. I don't know why you Terrans are so determined to die on this hill, as you say. The human's eyebrows flickered up slightly at the recognizable idiom. But eventually you'll figure out you're dead. Hey. She looked to Haimawa. You have peppers? For any humans who come in here to provide my customers with free entertainment, of course I do, the Ankili chuckled. The human smirked at him. The Monacan took a cash token from inside her belt sack and motioned to the human. I match you pepper for pepper. Whoever gives up first loses. You? Sure. Awesome. How much? 50 credits? She looks to the bartender. Can you set us up? Sure thing, he replied with a big smile, heading through the door behind the bar. The Monacan flicked her watch to the token, and it let out a chirp before tossing it to the human. Don't wimp out early on me just because you can afford to lose the money. I appreciate your concern for my well-being, he replied, flicking his own watch at it. But considering there's a ship I need to be on tonight, as much fun as this is, I do know my limits. And they include not destroying my captain's toilets. He tossed the token back to her. What does that mean? Asked a Zalkinian that hadn't yet spoken up. It means what is unpleasant going in one end can be explosive coming out the other end, my friend, the Monacan said with a shake of her head. There were some noises from several customers that, no matter the species, were easy to discern as discussed. Come on! I'm not doing this if you got some excuse to give up. I'm not gonna lose, he retorted. I'm human. I'm just saying I'm not gonna show off. That's crap, you egomaniac, she told him. If you drop out with excuses, I'm wasting my time. Hey, I'll pay to see the show, said the Luluti. I'll toss in 20 credits for the entertainment. He looked to the human. If the pot gets bigger, maybe you won't be such a wuss. Teamwork, the Monacan said with a chitter, reaching over to hand it the token. Awesome. Why not? I'll put in 30, spoke the Zalkinian. The other patrons started to join in, only a few of them passing it on, likely too broke to cough up anything more than an embarrassing amount. I'm hearing a lot of donations to the pot, she said after a minute, cocking her head at him. Are they enough to pay for a sewage bill on your ship? The human glanced at the token as it finally made its way back to her and then met her gaze. Alright, fine. I'll give it my all. Just don't die in my bar, Haimawa told him, coming back out from the kitchen holding 2 small trays. I'm not gonna die, the human scoffed. You've done this before, the Monacan said, her feathers rising in amusement at the setup on the tray he'd put in front of her. He didn't reply, just gave the other to the human. She's right. This is the tray you'd find at Stitchcombs, he said with a grin, looking to the Ankili. The logo from the restaurant was plainly visible, and while the tray was built to hold sauce, 2 rows of 8 small bowls, they each held peppers. From one end to the other, he recognized they were labeled by type, handwritten, order of increased Scoville units. How did you even get these? I like chicken wings. And I've got a friend who owns one a few hundred light years from here, the bartender replied. And this is a stereotype for a reason. Humans come in here and ask for peppers. I don't want to disappoint my customers, so I keep a few of these in stasis in case someone wants to have fun. By the way, this is my bar and there will be no cheating. I'll hear a crunch, or it doesn't count. You got it, the human said. The Monacan bobbed her head once. He nodded at her. I'll hold on to the token. Yeah, thanks. She handed it over. He took it and then made a gesture with his other clawed hand. So, human, go for it. Have fun. All the other customers made noises of encouragement, and Haimawa leaned over to the stereo controls, turning up the music a little, as the onlookers eagerly watched. Bo started with the first row, eating 2 peppers at a time. I actually haven't had habaneros for a while. The human spoke with a smile, glancing to his competitor. I should buy them more often. The Monacan just cocked her head, and then picked up the next 2. Haimawa came out from the kitchen, though no one had noticed him leave, and no one paid attention to him coming back, with 2 cups of milk. He set them next to the register, and leaned back against the wall, grinning, as he looked across the bar at everyone watching the show, some muttering back and forth. They moved on to the 3rd row. Some teasing, insults. Then the 4th. Some mocking of each other's cultures. By the 5th, they slowed down to 1 at a time. The Monacan's eyes had turned red from the veins expanding, and the human was ignoring tears. The insults were getting more creative. The 6th row, they reduced to eating half at a time. Once they finished the 2nd, the 2 of them were coughing and breathing hard. Come on, you can do it, called someone behind the Monacan. Shrink the meatbag humans have died on that hill. Oh, shut up, you giant gummy worm, the human said. He took a breath and wiped his nose and his sleeve, before taking a bite of the first pepper in the 7th row. The Monacan did the same. He coughed again, taking a deep breath and letting it out. This is the best time I've had since I drank a nutty under the table. Like I said, Haimawa spoke up. It's not love, it's masochism. Look at you. Just because I'm miserable doesn't mean I'm also not having the time of my life, he exclaimed, leaning back in his chair as he was racked with coughs. All the customers were now chatting and laughing among each other, gesturing to the 2 competitors, and probably guessing who would go home with the money. The Monacan had a metre or so of open space around her, now, because she kept needing to flap her wings slowly back and forth. Natty will keel over if you give them 2 fingers of vodka, she rasped. I didn't say it was fair. I said it was fun, he cackled. Another bite, and then the first of the other pepper. The Monacan took another break, breathing deeply and slowly, and flapping her wings. The human took a few more deep breaths as well. He clenched the edge of the bar in his sweaty hands. Jesus Christ, he whispered, continuing to blink back tears. If anyone here doesn't know, Haimawa said cheerfully, holding up 2 glasses of milk, milk is the best thing for someone who has eaten something spicy. Shut up, you son of a bitch, the human growled, leading to laughter through the bar. Fun fact, if you can't find a nice, cold, refreshing glass of milk, a mouthful of sugar has the same effect. You're an asshole, Haimawa, chuckled one of the regulars from the back. Never claimed to be anything else, he replied. With a flick of her clawed fingers, the Monacan tossed the 2nd bite into her mouth, crunched, and swallowed it immediately. The human stared at her before finally closing his eyes and eating his as well. The Monacan stayed silent, but all of the feathers on her body were flared at this point, some of them moving gradually as she breathed. Fuck me, the human whispered. You done? He looked up to his opponent as she took a deep breath, and took the first bite of a pepper from the last row, putting her in the lead. His face twitched, as he barely stopped himself from grimacing, but didn't say anything. Wiping tears and snot across his sleeve again, he took a bite, chewed and swallowed. Then he proceeded to make a series of noises that, likely, no one in the bar had ever heard a human make before. "That's so tasty," he managed. The bar exploded in laughter. A minute passed by, and Haimawa knew both had been tempted earlier to get each pepper over and done with, but that strategy had fallen by the wayside. Instinct had kicked in, and continuing now was a matter of using a whole other part of the brain. The part that, despite evolution's best efforts, had managed to stick around. The Minakan lowered her wings and took the next bite. She finally let out a squawk of unhappiness, which led to more laughter from the onlookers, but she was in the lead once more. The human was holding tightly to the bar again, as if he might fall off his stool. Haimawa lowered his head curiously. Who knows? Maybe he will. Haimawa watched as the human's right hand let go of the bar, then lay down flat on his cool wood surface. He took a breath, then another. Then he picked up the pepper, and he put it down, pushing the tray away. "Milk." "Sorry, what was that?" Haimawa asked the tomato-faced human. "Give me the fucking milk, you asshole," he coughed. The bar erupted as Haimawa brought over the glass and the human chugged it. He gave the other to the Minakan, who gratefully took it and drank from the side that conformed to her beak. The human eventually lowered the empty glass and stared at the Minakan, who met his gaze. Her feathers flared happily. "I hate you so much," he whispered. It was too noisy by then for her to hear him, but the sentiment came across and she winked at him. Haimawa handed over the token to her, and she left the bar, unsteady with red eyes, as if she'd had one drink too many. The only giveaway that there was something else going on was her feathers were still prickled high, leaving her looking like a pincushion. The human remained slumped back in his chair, glaring at the tray, as if it had personally insulted him, as the customers wandered back to their tables. "Refill?" he finally asked, raising the empty glass of milk. "You made out pretty good," spoke Bowell, staring at the token and looking to Rika, with an approving flitter of his antenna. "Nice haul." Rika was laying across the metal floor of the common room, her wings splayed wide. The other members of the crew sitting in chairs or on the couch. "Yeah, bar was full enough and it was a show." She slowly sat up, blinking a few times. "Still worked the second time around. How long till word starts to spread?" "In general, humans are going to be the first to realize it's a hustle," Harry told her. "It's not common knowledge, but enough of us know that Earth birds don't taste spiciness. Once someone makes the connection, they'll just need to hop on the Galnet to check on Minikans." "You think so? Just a Galnet search?" asked Wiltu. "Spiciness is negligible for Minikans, but they know it still affects them at high enough levels. But no studies have been done, there's no real gossip. I think one of their own will be the first to hear something and be suspicious." "Humans are different," Harry said, shaking his head. "We get real physical reactions. You get high enough on the Scoville scale, you get stuff that's genuinely toxic. Minakans would survive higher ratings than humans could, even after desensitizing ourselves over time." The sound of the ship door opening drew their attention, and footsteps echoed down the hall. "The defeated party has arrived." "Ha ha ha," said Kumar with a tired smirk. "How you holding up, bud?" asked Harry. "Rika said you put on a good show." "Easy money," he grunted, lowering himself onto the couch. Harry chuckled. "Easy, huh? You're home now, idiot. We're the ones that are going to hear you sweating when your ass hits that pot." Kumar groaned. "Fair. Same as last time. Gastrointestinal inferno incoming. But the bread, ice cream, and antacids will take the edge off. Dinner of champions, huh?" "Champions? You lost," Harry smirked. Hey, the bartender knew. Kumar glanced at Rika and narrowed his eyes, and the other crew members reacted similarly. What? You sure? Uh-huh. She flared her crest feathers and chuckled. There was one point where he gave me a smile and this look. Did he think you were hustling Kumar, or did he realize you knew him? Couldn't tell. Whichever it was, he didn't care. He knew what was coming and it was going to be pure entertainment, she chittered. Oh, the bartenders, Wiltu suddenly said, leaning forward. We were guessing who spot the hustle first. We were thinking at it from the wrong angle. It's going to be the one who needs to know how to feed their customers without killing them. Murmurs and grunts of understanding echoed through them. We have proved humans wrong, though, Rika told Kumar. You're not the species that can handle the most spice. What? Survival is never what this has been about, Kumar scoffed at her. Minakans can handle more, but humans are still the Scoville champions. In what universe does that make sense? Rika asked, baffled. Because you put up with it. We enjoy it, Kumar told her. He leaned back further into the cushion and let out a breath. The bartender was right and wrong. We do torture ourselves with some of those peppers, but we're deranged. He grinned at her. We still like it.